Okay, I think it's now recording. Okay, let's get this started. Thank you for coming, everyone. I prepared a few slides to keep us on track, and then I will go through the vibe coding. So first of all, welcome. It's the session where we're going to talk about the advanced challenge. Okay. So for today, our main goal is that you can also, on your own, vibe code with this template that also has the front end, and you can submit either the full stack challenge, advanced challenge, or the AI LLM using the LLM canister challenge. Okay, and also how to enjoy vibe coding. I've been also improving the template these last 2 weeks, and actually after some improvements, of course, in the context that it's running, the instructions, etc. I'm starting to have the feeling that it's a lot more pleasurable to actually code with vibe coding, especially because both Rust and TypeScript on the front end are strongly data typed languages, and it's a bit verbose all the time to be writing, a lot of this stuff. The AI can actually be quite accurate on things that doesn't require a lot of outside context. Yeah, but even in this case, we're going to see in the sessions how to compensate. So first, we will focus on what is the advanced challenge. Quick recap on the previous session in case you haven't seen it, but very fast. Ultimate template that we have been working on, me and Antoine. Then a little bit of some of the as an example of an advanced challenge. I'll try to be quick in there so that we can, by the end of it, actually code ourselves. Okay. Pretty much this is the one where I'm going to show you some history of prompts that I had, like more important ones that can quickly showcase to you so that you don't need to wait. But I think it's still important to review some of them as a good as a good example, pretty much of what could be an advanced submission. But yeah, what I'm really looking forward is definitely this real-time build and to see how that will actually go. Before I start, allow me to, because we will need to have the advanced code space, and I wanted to start from scratch with you, but because it takes a while to build, I wanted to start from there. As you remember, we need to use these templates. In this case, let me already share with you on the chat. If you hadn't had access to it on Telegram, create new repository. If you have any questions, etc., feel free to interrupt or ask in the chat. I will try to answer all of them. Imagine it is like advanced challenge, vibe, yeah, and public, and I think that's it. After it generates, if you still remember the thing about the code space, so we have a dev container, but you don't need to install Rust, you don't need to install a lot of stuff. Even in this case, it has the LLM canister, so a lot of these things is much better if you run through the code space. And for that, because this is this is an LLM and it has a this Olama, you need to run it on a 4 cores machine, which is bigger on the space. Okay. So you need to click on the 3 dots, new with options. From there, choose a machine type of 4 core and create code space. And if you make a mistake and you don't follow any of this and you actually put 2 core, it's easy to go back there and switch. Okay. Once you open it, you can also click. In my case, it's already automatic, but in your case, because you know probably don't have the same settings as I do, it's going to open a web browser experience. I don't recommend that. I recommend that you close that and then you click here, three dots, and say open in Visual Studio Code. That will enable you to have everything on your machine. Okay. And while it's building, let's already get the first instructions. This is how it's going to be looking, the template itself. Okay. I also have an advanced example that already looks different from this, as you will see. And now everything was done through vibe coding. But yeah, for now, this is the original template. Also to keep it very basic, very simple, but still helpful for the advanced challenge. After you have the code space, after you get the 4-core, it's npm install. Strange. No, it got an error in there, but yeah. I don't know. It's still cargo install, but let's already do the npm install.
It's okay.
Okay.
There was an error.
Olama. It didn't appear in the other ones. Not going to
Let me
care
just
much.
check. Maybe if you do a GFX identity list, just to see if it created the. Sorry, guys. Ah,
Mm,
no,
interesting.
no, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. If you do DFX deploy, it will automatically pull the version specified in
No,
the
I think
DFX
I
directory.
know. We are installing. I changed the project to version 0.26, and
Ah,
this one in somewhere,
it's in DFX.json.
maybe this latest is
No, no, no.
installing me the
It's
other
it's
one.
it's in DFX.json.
DFX VM list. You see?
Yeah, but it's okay.
No, it's
Just,
not. I need to install the FXVM is
but why did you
on.
update DFX?
I need to upgrade the on the instructions, but I'll fix this later. Okay. FXVM update for anyone that doesn't know. This is how you can easily upgrade the effects. Yeah, and now it should work. The PostScript thing. Yep. npm install Olama serve. So Olama, it's because you'll be running a server, and it's good that I run this. Installing Olama. Yeah, let's wait a little bit longer. Let me go back to the slides while it's installing stuff.
Maybe we can
Advanced review. Yeah.
maybe we can showcase a little bit the tech stack first, the template.
Wait. I have different slides.
Okay, okay.
The first
Sorry.
first it's about the advanced challenge. What is it? This is the index as you had access in the from the beginning. You have the beginner path, let's say, but then another path is actually to use the vibe coding templates. And originally, we even had this already from the advanced challenge in the first week. You had the two branches, the full stack and the LM. Now with this ultimate version, I would recommend you to use the ultimate version for it, and then you're going to have to submit it. And for you to submit it, you have this link submit form, and on it you can say the Rust dApp is a full stack app, or the Rust AI full stack. I mean the Rust AI dApp. Okay, that is the two advanced challenges that we are going to be focusing today. Um, Quick recap of last call. Remember a few things of the vibe coding. Who on the audience was in the? Maybe you can put a thumbs up if you were in the previous call, and a thumbs down if you were not in the previous. This session about vibe code done right. Were you in those sessions? Okay, I don't know
Half
if.
half, because I
Okay,
watched the recording, but
okay, that also works. Yeah, but
yes, yes.
a few others have put down. I was also suspicious, and also some people that are going to be watching the recording were not. So I will be very quick because if you want to see the longer version, definitely see the other session. Also go a little bit on the code, so I think it's different. In here, what I really want to mention is that AI should be seen as a junior. I think that's the best way, but also a way that you don't need to spend a lot of effort around learning curve. It does the heavy lifting of sometimes creating a file from scratch, creating a component from scratch. Yeah, it alleviates, make it faster, and the ideal scenario is that it makes everything right. You only need to double check, right? You only need to be kind of the senior that needs to review the code of the junior, ensure that this is exactly what do you want the business to go, like the business logic, and it's the right context, it's the right tool, it's the right architecture. Sometimes it fails a little bit in there, make some bad decisions, and I think that's where a more senior person needs to do. But also, it can help you on your work. Imagine that you are working as a team and you're reviewing others, or you're reviewing yourself when you're doing the pull requests. And At the time, I also prepared the code review prompt. And that's the main goals that I think you can improve. Not only performance, make things a lot faster to code, but also quality. And as we are going to see in the template, it uses tests. And to be very honest with you, especially front end, I would never add tests. I always found them painful to write them. But with AI, I think we can all enjoy, the luxury of having front end tests and being very quick to, as you're making changes, to also allow the AI to revamp them. And it has been pretty successful at the front end tests. I had some really good experience, so I do recommend that. There are 8 main problems. I'm not going to cover them, but very quick. Try to use. You already have a cheap alternative. It's not expensive. Try to use Claude 3.7 and Claude 4. Woohoo! We now, since last week, it was May 22, they released Claude 4. Actually, all the examples that I'm going to show you, it's with Claude 4. And yeah, life is getting, it's a good time to be alive, because those models pretty good on the way that they work. But if you go outside of those models, at least more my personal experience, it has been quite bad. But yeah, it's up to you. But at least those are good. It doesn't self check. That's very true. So we need to have copilot instructions. That's very important to, even if you have your own very different project from this template, you must revisit the instructions and kind of meta program. You need to make some changes in there for your specific project, and it's going to be totally worth your time, the investment that you put in there. Yeah, I don't need to copy paste. There is an agent mode. There is also, for you to review, it's very important for you to review, to have a workflow where the human is always in control, the human is always capable. It doesn't have like too much things happening that you eventually get exhausted and you just accept. No, like there should definitely be pause points. There should be a planning phase, and as you're going to see, we're going to go through there. That and AI doesn't know about the IC. It's true. You can tell it, especially with GitHub repos. I've been very successful with that. Yeah, and I've already explained that. And that's it. So that's kind of the review. But another way is also to actually see it in practice. Before I actually start to code it, I wanted to introduce also the stack, as Antoine was asking. So maybe we continue also with these instructions. No problem. All is looking good.
Just to mention it, since we need to test the AI locally, we need to start an Olama server that will mimic the LLM canister on the mainnet. It's just for local tests.
Exactly. There is going to be, because you have two challenges, remember, you can choose either. If you don't want the LLM, just delete it, okay? You can delete the code or ask the AI to delete the code. And yeah, you can completely remove the LLM part. But if you actually want to do the LLM agent, you will need this part, which I find it cool. And you can also play around. Of course, this model of 8 billion parameters is very cheap. It's very small. It's 5 gigabytes of a model. So for sure, you can't do what you can already with ChatGPT and others. But for you to develop an advanced challenge, it's more than worth it. Okay, it already cuts it. But in the future, the only difference would be to request a higher model that also Dfinity is working on to allow it. While it does this, yeah, it's going to be installing. Then it's about deployment. Let's already start this DFX start and even the clean. It's to start a local blockchain of IC, a local replica. Using the clean means that it will delete any history, any canisters that you had. So the next time that you run this command, just put dfx start if you don't want to start from scratch. Okay, this was successful, so I need to say bye. I could actually interact from here, okay? But that's not the point. We wanted to interact through the front end. Now the FX deploy, as I was saying. Oops. No, it worked. So what it's going to be doing, it's first it needs to create the canisters, these web servers of the IC, needs to build the code, needs to compile everything, cargo build everything, also have the target of the WASM32. That's what it's going to take a while to do. And then we are going to do this dfx deps pull and dfx deps deploy. Deps stands for dependencies, and it's written in our dfx JSON. We have the LLM, you see. And it's a very nice way of pulling a WASM from mainnet. Pretty much there is a canister that is kind of the register of this WASM. And I'm just pulling whatever WASM from it and installing it in my local machine. Okay, so it's kind of a way of getting canister smart contracts directly from the IC. Yeah, but we need, I think actually I can do it outside. I know I was doing deploy. Yeah, maybe I don't want to mess it. Let's wait for the deploy to finish. After that, we will have the front end. So if everything went fine, we will probably be capable of running the front end. Actually, in here, it's npm run dev, but it also accepts npm start. Actually, going now already to the AI, it's the same model, but I don't know if it's because they are practicing or they sometimes are double checking themselves, and they are doing some A and B testing. Sometimes you have an AI that is using npm start and following the instructions, for example, and another that it's just putting npm run dev and doing things in another way. So yeah, sometimes the AI can do either of those two, and you also too can do it.
Usually
Yes.
the AI will just search in the package.json for custom scripts, and afterward, when it
I
doesn't
have
find
both. I ended up creating both. I actually, at the time, I thought it was because of the AI, but now that I'm looking at the README, it could be that the AI was also getting it from here. I did not know. I need to put npm start, for example, in here, and that way maybe it will be more consistent. But still, what I wanted to say is that, yeah, sometimes the AI, because it's used on so many different repositories, like from the training to run different commands, and it sometimes I felt the need on the scripts to have both, but now I realize that it might been caused by this. Yeah, let's move forward. Okay, this is normal because it's installing. Okay, so it has finished the cargo build. This is usually what takes longer. It only does it for the first time. After you do the first time, it has the cache of the cargo build. Yeah, and here is the deployment. If you're in local, like I am, you should have this experience and it should work, these links. Okay, voila, here it is. Testing. Hello, testing. Increments. It's doing an update call. And it even has a spinner in here. Now I'm prompt, so the Olama serve is active. So I can ask, what is the capital of Portugal? So it's not always what is the capital of France. Oh, can you say? Because we didn't do the FX steps. That's absolutely correct. Cool. It has pulled the FX depths deploy, or was it FX steps deploy? What did I do wrong? This is done.
I think this error is because you are using the FX 26. It's weird, but I think going back to 25 will solve the problem. I had the same issue and going back.
You had? Okay.
Yeah. That's why
Okay. Maybe we need to
asked,
reach out to, or just pick up a different. Yeah, we need to maybe reach out to Islam and get another version from there.
maybe we start.
So I have there. I need to change the VM. Use 0.25. Of course, it doesn't work.
It will automatically use the one specified in the dfx.json. So it's okay.
True. But it's interesting because it's only the first time. All right. No, actually, on mine, when I changed to 26, I never used the Olama server. That's why maybe I never actually realized this. Yeah, but it's okay. We can showcase to you, and then we can move back to 26 and continue the example. For now. So yeah, you're right. Creating the canister, installing the canister, and now that we have this, it's the FX deploy. And this time it should work. And that's about it on the LLM. Also, be aware that as we are going to say in the README, you have already some examples of that Islam has created from Dfinity, where it checks the balance. It already has a basic agent with switch cases, like if the AI on the chat says balance, then execute this code, for example, to check the balance and stuff like that. So you can already work from there.
Maybe use the FX depth deploy. I think you did not do that.
I did.
Okay.
And the LM prompts. What is the capital of Portugal? Fingers crossed.
Can look.
It's looking good.
Can look at the terminal where the Olama.
Yeah, because the Olama will need to install stuff. The first time it takes a while, but after it should be faster.
It's good.
The capital of Portugal is Lisbon, and now France, so that we can have people stay happy.
ECP.
And he also knows the capital of France. Yeah, and it works. Okay. This is the basic example that I wanted to showcase. It has front end, as you're seeing. This increment is getting into the source backend to a Rust, and yeah, from it you have the chat experience that you can definitely expand again on these examples from Islam. You have the counters, the grid that we showed, the increments, and that's it. There is also tests. Let me explain. So the backend tests are in here. The front end tests are in the front end tests. Okay, sorry, yeah, tests of services and tests of fields. And yeah, on the README, you also have more explanation. I don't think it's worth a lot more time. Yeah, you have here all the different files, also the instructions that we're going to go into in a minute. In here, we also explain a little bit, yeah, about what are the different instructions, what are they useful for, what are the prompts. But I'll also showcase it to you live. Yeah, so some key takeaways, and there's also the prompt of the changes review, which I think it's interesting. And that's it. So questions so far before we go into so on this ultimate solution, you have backend and front end feature. You don't have just the backend because it's both. You can actually have tests on both. The prompts, etc. It will have clear steps. It allows for human to review stuff, as you will see. Yeah, and it allows for you to develop. The most important thing is like one feature at a time, but solid, and then hopefully they build up. And yeah, also with the tests, something important to emphasize is the AI. As if you ever worked with a bigger team, like 5 people, you never really know everything about the code base, right? The code base is constantly changing, the features are constantly changing. And sometimes the best way to make sure that you're not messing around with someone else's work is actually through tests, because the tests are ensuring that even if you make a change on a library upgrade or just changing a part that is actually going to be used in 2 or 3 different places, but you're not messing around on the area that you're not looking. Yeah, tests are really important. And the same way that they are important on this team, it would also be important if you are just yourself and the AI. Try to see again the AI as a junior, and it's difficult for you to be attentive. Actually, in one of the examples that I'm going to show with internet identity and identity kit, it made some changes, but it wasn't complete. And I needed some time to debug and eventually get to the answer. But if I was also reviewing a little bit more attentively, as I usually done in the past as a senior, trying to review the code from others before you merge the pull requests. If you are doing constantly that work of reviewing, even through the AI, even as the AI is adding the tests, it really helps find some parts that are still missing and ensure that you don't add more complexity. Yeah. Try to always have this good practice of constantly checking what the AI has done, constantly check what the AI has done, etc. Okay, so that's it. And last but not least, also covered on the other session, but also important for this one. Probably you're asking yourself, like, this is looking good. I hope that you will be more impressed when I actually show you the examples and the live coding. You'll probably wonder, how can you actually use, like, how can you benefit yourself from an IC project that you are working on? Maybe you ask for a grant and you are going to be working on your project. So you can use these templates. The most important is that you copy the information that is on the GitHub instructions and GitHub prompts. And after that, you adapt, especially the instructions. In this case, as we're going to see, the front end is with React, TypeScript, and Tailwind. And if you have a different project that is using Vue, Svelte, and something else, like it definitely, or maybe directly JavaScript, of course, you need to explain. Also, some of the commands that are important to check stuff, you definitely need to update all of that. Maybe the scripts and the dev container, that could be useful also for you. And of course, the tests, especially the setup, the configuration, copy it to you so that it's easier. It already has their Pocket IC, and some other stuff. So try to copy it to your solution and have the AI vibe code with you. And yeah, I definitely felt, yeah, maybe I'm going to showcase that. I definitely felt a boost in productivity, as I'm actually going to show. Questions? Please also write in the chat if you want, or just talk. Anyone can talk. Now is the good time to ask some questions before I dive deeper. Sorry. Because I went to the advanced show. Right. That's what I want. It's this one. And in this one, it has a branch. And here I want to see. For example, I did, yeah, 117 me and Antoine, but I would like to even see. So I worked all of these days, and I'm going to showcase to you how it looks, the example that I worked for some, I would say maybe 5 days. think I'll go back so that I don't get confused. I'm going to deploy it, and you will see big differences in the front end, some differences in the back end. I implemented Identity Kit. I significantly changed the front end, as you will see. Even some of this code, I completely changed the. I added a lot of tests. I improved the packages. Added links maybe. I even wanted to showcase like it's a lot of changes in the end because this is I don't think. Yeah, and sometimes, for example, this refactor. Yeah, this is a good example. It happens. I wanted to see the time.
It was written yesterday.
I know, but I wanted the time because it was minutes. How can I see the time?
Maybe
sometimes it has a tooltip. Sometimes it has a tooltip, but maybe it's easier in Git log. Aha. So it was 228 the refactor, 228, 216. So 12 minutes that I took to do. Is this the one? Refactor. I'm very productive, right? 12 minutes. I did all of these changes. This is actually difficult because it's a refactor. You know, refactors sometimes work across different places. You need to upgrade the test. You need to upgrade then it's being called on different places. It's such a pain in the ass. I didn't need to do it. It's such a much better experience that you just ask the AI and it's refactors for you. There was a bad decision that the AI made of it created two instances of something that is actually the same data type. It's just it was a bad idea from the AI. Then I decided no, this doesn't look good. Let's refactor. And yeah, like 12 minutes. And already on these 12 minutes counts like not only it working, but also me reviewing. I did some review, run the tests. Things were looking good. Like I liked the change that made. Okay, git push, git commit and push. 12 minutes. And I have several other examples of that where, especially in tests, this one is very good. So, especially in my previous job, a team of 5 people, maybe this also happens to you. With time, like the company was 10 years old already, it had huge accumulated tests, right? And after the company evolves, it has unnecessary tests. And it's such a painful sometimes to manually review the tests, if the tests make sense, if they're still valid, if they're still testing anything, because sometimes you're just duplicating the same tests. Already your pipeline at the time it was taking, imagine, 1.5 hours for everything to run in parallel. And some of my time was actually going back and reviewing what's me and other people have done, and just delete stuff. And in this case, I just asked the AI, like, because I was opening some of the tests, and I was definitely feeling, Jesus, like it was taking 30 seconds, the backend test. it was so duplicating it. There were some parts of it that it started to become verbose. As I was adding more features, it kept on adding more tests, but these tests were kind of redundant because they were testing the same things. If it failed in one test, it would of course fail in all the other tests. So it wasn't really helping. It wasn't worth keeping it alive. So I asked the AI to yeah, just to revamp it and refactor it. Look out for redundancy. Look out for tests that are testing the same thing. Yeah, and please consolidate. And I think it did a great job. It deleted, as you're seeing. This is actually from front-end tests. It was also on the authentic. No, it actually this is authentication. Actually, I don't think it's this commit. I see consolidated back. Okay. Yeah, it's this one. Consolidated backend. You see, like this one it deleted 200 lines of tests, and it made from 30 seconds to 10 seconds, a third of the time. You see, like it wasn't good, and it's very important as you're having the AI because it's like you have a junior, right? The junior eventually doesn't. It writes. It's very verbose. It's easy for him to write a lot of code, but you need to refactor, keep an eye out, refactor, so that your your repo is well maintained. But it's easy. It's a breeze, like a few seconds, minutes, I would say. You have this consolidated version. You review, you double check that nothing was deleted that was important. I also told the AI, please keep important tests that are focused on user experience, because in the past it was kind of testing everything, all the edge cases that were possible. Did the button get clicked? If get clicked, does it always test all the errors? Eventually it doesn't compensate to keep it alive, and the AI did very well on this refactor. And maybe I think it's best to showcase the example, how it ended up. So after all of these days, around 5 days, this is what it looks like. I will also showcase the tests. It increased significantly. npm run test, or just npm test. We need to wait. We need to first build. At least it has to have a one build, because the tests, they are reusing some of the things on the FX folder. So we need to wait. Also in this case, I already have internet identity, as I'm going to show. It's needed because if you're in local, you need to have a local wallet, or else the authentication you will get, that the certification doesn't work. So that's why you always need at least the internet identity. You could have other ones, but I think the internet identity is the easiest one. That's what I deployed. I was talking about the tests. This is running first the backend. It's passing. It's 3. It's actually taking 4 seconds, not the 10 seconds that I was saying. And the front end has 30 something tests, 39, from the different components, not like too small level. I like to have at page view level. Testing a button is not really sometimes worth it, because you're also on the view already testing the smaller ones. So a lot of the tests are on the services, on the views, and the app itself, and all of them are passing, looking good, looking good. Let me showcase the app itself, and voila. So from this, all through vibe coding, it became this. Notice the header. I didn't code anything on it. Okay, it was actually all the header. Internet identity kit, which is a good example of something that is outside of the context. It's almost impossible. It was trained on identity kit. So how to actually pull that off, I will show you in a minute, but it's working. Tabs, access control. So I'm going to showcase it working. I think I need to create a new one. Those were from previous sessions. This is the local one, okay, the identity kit that I was showing. And now that I'm signed in, it appears the counter view. And again, this choice of, hey, on this tab, please make sure it only appears after signing in, all through the prompts, okay? And I can increment, increment, increment. Remember the number 3, okay? Because I'm going to sign out, I'm going to sign in again. It's another identity. And on the counter, because it's per principal, it's per user, I'm having data that needs to be stored in stable. I go back, the counter is still here. You see, so this part is the part of the backend. It was able to successfully install Serde in the cargo toml. And to have backends leave to install stable structures and understand what the hell are these stable structures. Actually, it worked on the first fly. Pretty impressive. Also, because I added tests, it had tests. I added, like, he added the AI, but yeah, it was self-testing, that these increments, now he needs to listen to who is the caller, and from that caller go to this table structure, understand what you need to put in. If you don't find anything, also deal with it. Deal and assume that it's going to be a 0, and then the new count is going to start from 0 to 1 and insert back. So all of this logic, I had none, and I did not need to go and see, imagine that I don't remember something in Rust. I didn't need to go and look about it. It's much faster. Even sometimes these types, data types, it's such a breeze that he does understand very well data types. That's something that I'm very impressed. Even data types that for sure it wasn't taught, he can figure it out. He's probably indexing very well the code base, and he knows very well how to test and so on. Yeah, and for example, the tests are clear. Like, even if you don't understand the code, you can understand the behavior. That's again going back to why the tests are so useful for vibe coding. Because yeah, he just explains should maintain per principal counters with increment and set operations. Yeah, and you can see it's a lot easier to understand. Maybe like you have an Alice and a Bob user and actors. They're doing different stuff, and they are going to get out with a different value in the end. okay, like I can understand this behavior, and hopefully it's a lot easier to understand than yeah this. um, okay, so a little bit. So that's all the features. Um, going as a summary, header, components, making sure you understood, understanding about identity kit. Also, he installed the internet identity. I gave some help on where he installed it, but then he failed on the. So after you log in, you need to create the actor, and this actor only on local development. Actually, on production from the start, it was working. I did the FX deploy playground, and it was working. But if I do the FX deploy local, it wasn't working. And the reason was also because Internet Identity wasn't installed. Then I had to ask it to install Internet Identity. And even after that, I needed to review. It still was showing some problems. So maybe I spent 2 hours debugging, and maybe I spent 5 hours or 10 hours doing everything else. But sometimes you find a bug, you find an issue, and yeah, the AI can't get it because it's too specific. Of that library of internet identity, how to actually have identity to be the right URL. Like when I clicked it, it was going and pointing to the local host. That's where he kind of started to fail, because also there wasn't good guides. It started to fail because there isn't good readmes, there isn't good guides that are explaining about it. Okay, and that's just what it is. And that's going to happen also in our life. But regarding tailwinds, like it's very easy, as I'm going to show you on the live one, to ask the backend to change the colors, to make it taller, to change the font, whatever, the header to have this behavior. I even had another version that I did this, and it had an hamburger, and it just created the hamburger on it. Yeah, like it's really good. Tailwind, he knows very well, etc. So I think it was a very positive experience, and I wanted to showcase that on some of the prompts. So maybe I make this a little bit more interactive. For you, do you think that some of these features were good, or maybe some of them are the ones that you are interested the most, how I actually was able to deploy them? Maybe you just tell some of the favorite features that you liked as I go through the history. Good. So maybe I'll just suggest, it actually doesn't go over the history than 2 days ago, but let me see if I find a good one. This is one of the sessions. I think this one is good. So I had at the time configured identity kit, and it was working to log in, but it wasn't working as to pass the actor and connecting to the backend, I think. No, sorry. I had the identity kit, but I didn't have the NFID at the time, which later, eventually, I realized that I couldn't use on the local development. I would need to use a local version of NFID wallet as well. And I instructed it to learn about identity kit and about NFID wallets directly from this hashtag. That means it's a tool that the AI is using for searching on GitHub repos. I feel that it does find pretty good the documents and examples from there, but it's not as great as sometimes you going through and being a little bit more specific, like this page or make sure that you read this page, make sure that you see this example, because it's doing the searches by words, and sometimes it does fail. So I think he's going to try to get the fetched. Yeah, it actually didn't even search this one. Yeah, sometimes I know it here. Searched and it got 64 results. You see, this is what I wanted to see. So he found that there was documents in there already from that repo with a lot of the explanations. Sometimes on this edge case, there was a production codes that is for production and there is code for local development. And for example, it followed the production one. He did not follow the local one. So it's in these parts where you are being more ambiguous that you also don't know as a human, that maybe the AI starts to not deliver or not work. But you can definitely just git check out, try again, and improve the prompts as you go. In this case, I wanted to showcase as an example, it's fetch all the information. Be aware that my prompt is also with this add front-end feature. So there are some instructions in there. There are some instructions from these other files. And he then fetched the information, read these different files to have it in the right context. He's the one that searched about his auth, also the packages that he'd already had installed. And then after he got to the right context and is completely aware, the first step is this one, the planning step. So he will ask you some clarification questions. Yeah, I only wanted an NFID, I think. Only an NFID wallet for now. Yeah, and some also it had a really good question regarding to the two modes, which at the time I wasn't even very sure. I had to ask it again, but at the time I even said accounts mode to make it easier, and he understood it, tried to deliver, updated change log. At the time he had the line. Yeah. Probably this one, something like that. Then implemented the code, and he was smart enough to follow the guides. You know, instead of me explicitly saying how to do stuff, and it's much faster. Yeah, he knows that he needs and can take advantage of some index. Yeah, then the auth. Then he created some hooks for it to be calling, updated. And after that, he checks himself. He checks on the terminal to be absolutely sure on all the files, but also he's nowadays sensitive to problems. Be aware that is this tool that you need to like click and have all of the tools access. And one of them is actually the get problems that it's giving it access to check itself. And he keeps on writing code, the use of, and then sometimes it asks to continue to iterate. It's normal on agent, especially on this Claude Sonnet 4. I'm feeling it more than the 3.7. It's the kind of a timeout where he just double checks. You need to click continue, and he kind of starts a new session based on the previous one as context. But yeah, it's a bit annoying, but that's what we have for now. Then he continues. Let me check the TypeScript error. So he actually had some errors in there. It's because he was writing something that was already outdated. So he needed to try it again. But he fixed it on his own. I didn't need to say anything, as you're seeing here. Like he was able to self-fix his own errors. No errors, npm start, and also on the instructions, because this is a front-end feature, a step that it has is that after self-checking, always do npm start and open the simple browser. So it actually is going to open in your in Visual Studio Code. It's going to open a tab. Actually, will show you the app, which is really cool. You didn't even need to go and test it. At the time, I wanted it also for the AI to self-check, but because this is an open, simple browser and the tool, it's not actually testing anything. It's sometimes just saying, there was one session where he said, "Excellent, it's working," and it was blank page. It was completely white. There was an error on the React that couldn't load. He was completely not aware. But it's normal. Like he has no access to the inspect tool and so on. But it's still useful for us to just quickly check, quickly iterate if it's working the UI as you want, and to stop something, double check before he creates the test. So this step of constantly checking things is going to be very important before we move forward with the tests, because sometimes, not in this session, but in another session that I had, yeah, in this one, I don't think he's even adding tests. Yeah, he critical pause point. Actually, he did. So he pauses. He makes a summary of all the changes that he made, so that you can review the code. Okay, the code is complete. Please review the changes before I proceed to implement tests. And this is the right workflow. So he definitely made a lot of changes, but sometimes the header is not as you want. Maybe this is not working. Maybe it still needs to, and it's easier to do that before it adds the tests. Okay, just specifically for the front end. Okay. For the backend, I kind of defend that you should do tests first and then you implement the code. In the case of the front ends, because it's definitely a lot of behavior, a lot of change, it's difficult to have the tests beforehand. It's doing the tests afterwards. Okay, but it's that's the experience at the time. Yeah, give some thumbs up. I changed all of these files. And I can give other examples, but it's pretty much what it does. Also tests, maybe because I didn't show tests. Yeah, but I think this one is good. I also have an example here of fetching a website. Okay, because I went to how to implement internet identity, and I went first to internetcomputer.org, use this AI to ask it how to implement something. He gave me the right documentation, the right link. That was this one that I was not aware that it existed. And I thought that, yeah, this has everything I need to know how to set up. But it's not me that is going to set up. So I just copy pasted and told the AI to fetch, please help me deploy locally the internet identity. And please don't follow the step 6 because it's going to be without an etiquette. And he actually had an error. Yeah, but I tried again. I think actually this error, it wasn't happening on the 3.7. I think it's because this 4 is brand new and it's still a lot of people using it, and it's kind of going out with outage. Sometimes it's unavailable, but I just ask again, and sometimes it passes. Yeah, this one it wasn't, and then I think I used the 3.7, and from the 3.7 it actually proceed. So it fetched the information, analyzed, and made the changes. Okay, on DFX, he even created a script at the time. I actually didn't like that part, but yeah, it was enough. Like he did enough, and then I stopped it and continued the rest of the deployment, yeah, etc. But it works. Like it definitely does this heavy lifting for you, and it's much faster than you to need to read through, make sure the details. At least if you have good documentation and good context that you can reuse, good examples that you can reuse, for sure reuse them on your vibe coding. And that's the examples that I wanted to show. I didn't want to take it too long. Questions before I start the live vibe coding on the new one. So let me actually open the other one. Yeah, that is clean. This is the same one that you will have. And okay, just last but not least, the app that I showed you would be a great advanced challenge submission, okay, of full stack. It has changes in the backend, it has changes in the front end, it has new tests, it has refactors, it has identity kit. Yeah, the internet identity was added. It's already pretty cool. It was, I would say, maybe 2 or 3 days of work. You can definitely do it on your own. I think maybe the worst one was implementing identity kit, but yeah, everything else went good. Why is it shutting down? Strange. And
I give it one moment. It will restart.
Okay.
It's normal.
Okay. Questions and answers. Okay, I think Antoine already answered that one. Okay.
What do you think of the templates, guys? Like, is there something you would have liked to see? Is it lacking some kind of feature? Or do you find it complete?
Very strange.
Solomon, so right now, to give you an overview of what's happening, we are presenting a full stack application template with integrated tests, end-to-end testing and the GitHub workflows and custom instructions for Copilot. There's like a lot of stuff that is already implemented in this template so that you can reuse it and modify it a little bit to meet the advanced challenge.
Finally, starting to get scared. In a recording to not having access to the code space would be a problem. Okay, 26.1. So the way that I was thinking is we have, for this more practical moment, this is the current template, right, from the base. I wanted to ask the audience, give me some suggestions of things to change in the backend, in the front end, some possible features so that I can show it live. Try to write in the chat some ideas. I'll try to pick the one that is more executable.
Solomon, you can participate in the bootcamp by registering on Luma.
So we have a dynamic background to the front. What do you mean by dynamic?
Like a moving background.
And it's going to follow the mouse,
No,
or
like just
what's
going.
a transition?
Yes, something like
Imagine
that.
in the left is purple and on the
Ah,
right it's pink and it's transitioning the colors. Well, what do you mean by dynamic?
this is a gradient. I was thinking about some kind of moving background, you know. Maybe it's hard to do. Do a
Yeah,
gradient.
I also don't understand how that would help the user.
No, do a gradient maybe.
IO is,
Right
is
now.
talking about a simple form submission. Um, and maybe on
Um,
this simple form submission, IO, could you give me some ideas? So this will also affect the backend. It's a great feature. Could you give me some examples of what will people be submitting so that I also change in the backend or ask the AI to change? Okay, so we have it working. It's nowadays looking like this, our local one. And I wanted to add feature, front-end feature, make my backgrounds more lively. Would like something more um, no, game cubic retro style, and the colors to be transitioning to be changing, no, and the main color, background color, to change every 3 seconds in a loop of 5 colors. That's you pick, and good luck. I think I'll shoot myself. It's such a strange prompt. So for you to be aware of what is happening, add front-end feature. So GitHub prompts, not instructions, but the prompts. Add front-end feature. It has steps, step-by-step workflow, where the main one is the planning, okay? And the tests are at the end. Let's see how it goes. In this one, it doesn't need any specific context. It doesn't need any specific docs. So I think it's fine as it is. I actually wanted to double check. Yeah, so on here on the tools, it's all selected. So he has all the power that he may need.
Thiago, maybe you can explain the difference between the instruction markdown and the prompt markdown?
Okay, so the instructions are very specific per language and per kind of activity. Imagine how to do backend tests, how to do front-end tests, and how to write code in Rust, how to write code in TypeScript, but also general, like this is an IC project. Please double check yourself. Please try to be simple, give good comments, use prettier, etc. And all of these formats. That's the instructions. And then on the prompt, it's more like you need to follow a certain steps. It's more instructions on exactly how to behave for doing a specific task. And in this case, it's actually pausing. It's planning, and yeah, you will feel it more live, right? I want to. This suggests geometric shapes, pixelated elements, maybe some 8-bit inspired visuals. Okay, sounds good. Cycling through 5 colors every 3 seconds, more dynamic, engaging. Okay, I think he kind of summarized very well. I would like some clarification. Style preference. Would you prefer floating geometric cubes moving around, a grid-based retro pattern backgrounds, pixel art style elements, or a combination of this? What do you guys want me to reply? Antoine, you were the one that proposed this.
Alors, what were the different propositions?
Here.
Cube.
Maybe
let's
pixel
go
art
pixel art.
style.
Yeah, pixel art. We agree.
Art style. I don't think I want geometric cubes floating around, right?
I think it will destroy everything.
Yeah. A grid-based retro pattern background. Let's risk on that. And the grid-based retro pattern background, but not the floating geometric cubes blocks. 2. Color scheme. Hot pink, electric blue, neon green. Which ones should we choose? But it's good, like he's already giving him some maybe retro game colors, not the neon stuff. Like, do you want it to be more Minecraft style or more this motorbike game? I'm forgetting the name. Neon thing. I think it's more the Minecraft style, right?
It's Tron.
Tron, exactly. Do you want a Tron website or do you want Minecraft style?
Let's go with Minecraft.
Minecraft? Okay. Retro game colors. 3. Performance consideration. No restriction on performance. Which I'm being crazy, but yeah. Let's say don't optimize for performance for now. Content visibility. Should the animated background stay behind the content? Exactly. Stay behind the content. Yeah, I'm not going to answer the other one. Let's move on. So he has made some questions, and the interesting thing about these questions is he's only asking it because I asked. He's not asking it because he needs it. And sometimes I find it interesting that he's asking stuff, but he's still going to be doing something else. um, but it's interesting that he's asking. It's provoking also in ourselves some thinking. So, for example, on this identity kit, I wasn't self-aware of delegation and accounts. So it's good that he's asking me some of these things. So it makes me think. For example, when it was the header, it asked me, do you want the hamburger style or do you want it to be like tabs? Do you want it to be in the middle? Because at the time there was that possibility, or do you want it to be top fixed? Do you want it to be actually scrolling down, or do you want it to be just on the fixed at the top? So there's definitely a lot of things to consider, a lot of ambiguity sometimes. And on this planning phase, he can give some good questions that make you think. And sometimes it won't work out on this first try, but you just git check out, start the commit, right, again from scratch. And on the second prompt that you create, you will already be capable of saying, I would like to try this, this, and this. And it's a lot more accurate on the direction that he goes. Oh shit, he made some changes. No hetero for now. Oh, wait. It's changing the colors. It was changing the colors. Yep. He's opening up the simple browser as we're saying. You saw it changed. There is something here actually, cubic shape in there. I don't know if this. Are you noticing the squares in there? Okay, he did it. It's more dynamic. I think it was actually what we asked. Different from what I was
Great.
initially thinking. But yeah, it's changing actually, and actually I'm looking forward to double check how he did it. Some of the code, if it was more CSS, if it was more Tailwind, but it is also a little bit more aligned with maybe the kind of content that we had with this React and stuff. The colors that it picked, it's okay. Yeah, I think it did a good job actually. He then self-checks. There is no errors, but he's running the format. There was something that was formatted. You see, oh, it was actually something else. He's going to also check the Rust side of things, although we didn't change. It's just what it is. It's the first time that it's running. Next times it will be faster. Okay, all is working. Great. Now there's a summary, as we got used to. Created a grid-based background. It's true. Grid-based background. That's true. So there is those squares in there. Add a dual layer grid pattern. Dual layer. I don't know what that is. Semi-transparent white overlays. Yes, you see, for the retro fill. It's kind of sticked, in there. Interesting. White overlays for retro game color cycling, deep purple, etc. Color automatically cycle every 3 seconds, smooth 1 second transition. Yeah, like I don't need to read the rest. I think
it's pretty good. We can put it
scan
together.
line effect. But it's interesting, this summary as well, because there might be some parts that you're not aware. So it's definitely good. It implemented with Tailwind, it seems, technical implementation. It even explains how it did it. Interesting. And then some performance considerations. I don't think it should be a problem. Okay, this looks good. Let me just quickly double check the code itself. Change log, add animated something. Okay, keep. And close. Simple browser close, change log close. Then maybe an easier one. Yeah, just add it to the index, easy. On the app, he added a component that is the animated background, is running it from the start on the top. Okay, interesting. There's no other change. It's just a component in there. Interesting choice, very clean. And React function interface. Some current color index is using a state that is constantly changing. We can choose the colors. Pretty good. We can choose the colors. That's a fine, and everything seems to be in here. Interesting. It's not changing anything on the CSS file. Very good decisions in there. Pretty solid. Like if I need to make any change, if I need to, fix anything, I only need to go to one place. That's actually a very good choice. Wasn't expecting that. It put actually everything into a single component. It edits with some direct style of the CSS, but it's inside of these components.
Guys, I just wanted to say,
It
like,
explains.
I gotta go now. I gotta go, but wish you
Yes.
a great day, and you guys good luck with the template. I think it's pretty complete, and we can't wait to see what you come up with.
Yes.
This template. Yeah.
100%.
See you, everyone.
Thank you, Antoine. And remember to book some calls with Antoine.
Yes.
So I'll just gonna continue in here. So the code looks great. I do keep even these keyframes looking good. Keep, and now we'll say continue. Great work. Please continue. So that he can continue with the tests. Okay. Also be aware that the AI shouldn't have a session that takes too long. That's why you should always try to break down into smaller parts. Now he's going to implement the tests. I'm actually curious if it's going to be very verbose or not. Actually, it shouldn't be easy to test transitions, etc. But yeah, I have no idea how he's going to test this, to be honest. So he created the test itself for the component. Makes sense. He's going to be using a data test ID. Very interesting choices in there. I already created the tests. Advanced timers by time. So this is also what I really like about front-end tests is that okay, he has something failed, but he will try to double check it. Sometimes, as I was saying, like, I have no idea how you would actually test, these changes, etc. It shouldn't be easy at all. I bet that the junior that I would hire, the person would just tell me, I have no idea, let's move forward and not test this. But yeah, the AI seems to also have some good strategies on how to actually test. I like that it seems to be using some timer advance of Vitest. Like he knows very well Vite and Vite test from his training, and he has seemed to be really good on the tooling. So let me see if he's still writing. improving, simplify. The file looks good. He wants to run the test again. Let's see if it passes this time. Nope, still with some struggles. Clear interval is not defined. So maybe he needs to fetch some. Oh, it's a mock. Okay. Oh, clear interval mock still not working. Global mocks properly. Yeah, shouldn't be easy to control the time on tests. So he seems to be using or wanting to be using use fake timers. Good luck on that. I would just give up and not do it. But I like that he at least keeps trying. And in this case, to be honest, even if it doesn't work, I think the component logic is very easy to verify visually. And you see, after it reaches some timeout, it has this continue. Oops, he fixed it. He removes. Yeah, he's constantly checking the elements, the get test ID, and how it looks at a specific time as well. Sometimes it tests everything, so of course maybe it's not worth all of it, but yeah, if in the future you have someone that removes a certain part, at least you would know that no longer the test is passing, and probably it's because it's no longer giving the effect that you want. Yeah, so I think that's it about this feature. It passed with 5 stars. I have to admit, it wasn't an easy thing. Also, regarding style, I'm pretty happy with it. I don't have npm run dev in here. It's npm starts. Yeah, it's working as npm start. And it's working as we asked. Okay, I don't want to be too long because I know you guys, it's already way over time. But regarding the forms, I just wanted to showcase at least how to do it. So it's, yeah, we ensure that it's status. So we committed the dynamic backgrounds, retro dynamic backgrounds. And now git push. And there was this idea of the form. And Edward was saying check and open all files in module 1. I don't know. This is maybe a question. Good that a lot of people were up to the pixel art. We didn't see much, but simple form submission. Okay. I don't think IO has mentioned. Would we learn how to deploy? Yes, to deploy, it's as I did the DFX deploy, and If you outside of the local version, you have Playgrounds. Okay. Playground gives you 20 minutes on mainnet. It's pretty much reserving certain canisters, as you can read here. It's reserving the canisters and it's pushing there the code, and it will work. Like you can have that exact link and on your mobile phone, share with a friend. Everyone will have access to the same app because it's on mainnet. See, this is on mainnet. It was that fast. This is one of the cool things about EIC, how fast you can push something to the website. And then you have the mainnet. For that, you will need to have cycles, you need to pay. And the only difference is that you come here and you say defects deploy IC. I am in a testing thing. I don't have cycles in here, so I can already show you that you would have problems. Don't deploy it on a code space. Don't, because the code space will eventually delete and your identity will be lost. Do it on your local machine. But yeah, that's that easy as well. Regarding the backend, I just wanted to showcase. So we start a new one, and we would say add backend feature. I would need to add some more information, right, for the form. So on backend, allow it to store user info, namely username, name, and age, for example. I don't want to put email in there. Maybe I can put email. Oh, it's the same email. And let's see how it works. But because I used, you notice the prompt in there, like add backend feature. He knows to fetch this and to follow the steps that we are used to. He's going to read. He's going to also probably see the lib. You don't need to explicitly tell him that he needs to come to this file. He will discover it by himself. You see, read lib. He already read it. He's also learning what is the current features by the test. Sometimes I like it that he's using the test as well as a way to understand how the app is. Planning. So I think it's pretty straightforward. The age will be a number, email, everything else will be a string. Should each user be uniquely identified by their username? That's a good question. If it should be unique, yes. Do you want CRUD operations? Only, well, only create, update. Yeah, actually, okay. Yes. Let's give him more work, poor soul. Should there be any validation to the user data? That's interesting. Yes to all. Poor soul. I think it's too much. Sometimes be aware that these questions, you would have the tendency to increase significantly the scope. I wouldn't recommend you to do that. No, for now. But keep in mind that this will be interesting for a follow-up prompt, okay? Because it's this context. I don't know if you ever read these limitations of ChatGPT on image generation. It can't hold more than 20 items at the same time. After that, the words, etc., is going to start to smear, like it will start to fail. And the same thing happens in here. If you give too much scope, you are asking too much at the same time, he's going to start failing. He's going to pick wrong style. He's going to pick wrong decisions in there. Yeah, it's not good. So be very careful about increasing the scope too much. Try to divide it in different prompts. The other way, list all users or just get set individually all users. Only all users. And that's actually a good question because I didn't even ask for get all users, but let's see what he works. He then is going to break down what he's thinking of. This is important also to double check again. The human must be in control. Is this exactly what do you want? Do you want a user info struct? Yeah, I think it makes sense. CRUD operations seems fine. There's also the get users. Ah, no, here it is. The get all users. Add username as the unique identifier for users. Yep, that seems exactly what it was being prompting and answered in here. Change log, add user info storage functionality with username. Seems good. Then he's working on the lib. This is the hard part, and especially in the beginning, he's going to fail because I don't think he has the Serde package. But don't fret too much. He's going to probably find it. He's not using stable structures, so I already know that he will be in trouble later. But I didn't specify either, right? That it need to be in stable structure. So he's going to be doing the cargo check and he's going to notice that he's failing. Yeah. Not this, but the I think other parts. User infrastructure, fix this. Then of course he's not okay, it's working, it's just warnings, but it's expected. He needs to generate the candidate so that he knows on the tests that what is exactly the interface of the backend. Not it's working. I think this error is only caused by the 26.1 maybe. But since we're not going to make any changes with LLM, I don't think it's going to be affecting anything. So he's then going to create the tests to double check if this is exactly what we want. So describe user management, test user, should create a new user successfully on the create user based on all the information. Expect to receive an OK. Should get an existing user. Yes. Should update an existing user. So he first creates and then changes some information in here, updates user, and expect to equal. Sounds good. The test should fail to update non-existent users. That's interesting. I didn't mention any of this, but it's good that he's testing. It's a common edge case. And he would say user not found. Very, very good. Interesting choice in there. Should delete an existing user, but probably refuse. Yeah, it should fail. It will inform that user is not found. This is great. Great edge cases. Common, but it's good that he's not, like I didn't mention any of this. Like he's smart enough to suggest, strongly suggest this behavior. Should fail to create user with duplicate username. Yeah, because it should be unique. So he's now testing the uniqueness of it. And for that, create user, then try to create again. same username, but everything different. And it should get the error. Amazing. It should list all users, create, review. It should return empty when no users exist. Yeah, sounds great. Sounds pretty great. Keep. I've reviewed this too. And also on the leave, he didn't change anything. I think it's fine for now for this iteration. So let's say that he did a great job. Super aligned. Keep going. And implement. Let's see how he behaves. So now he needs to create all the code, right? The tests are done. The tests are exactly the behavior that I wanted. This is definitely not super trivial. Or at least would be at least a beginner challenge worth of submission already to have this. And let's also be honest, like some of these functions, I don't remember them by heart. I would need to constantly go and fetch from the documentation how to do something as my learning curve gets used to Rust. So it's really good to have the AI doing this heavy lifting. Get users with users or get username from the username. And if not, it's not actually returning an error in here on the get users. I think it will fail one of the tests. Yeah, but cargo seems to be fine. Great, no compilation errors. And now on the test backend, let's see how it works, but I think some of them will fail. That's good, like he can self-check. Oh, it actually passed all of them. Should fail to update the non-existent users. Yeah, running the format. And I will accept his changes. Again, the summary, all very good for me to help me review the work that he did. And skip. Here is all the code, pretty impressive. I was at the time noticing the get user was too simple. Probably it will actually return an empty. Let me actually fx deploy. I can also test myself, the behavior. But if the tests passed, the code from the rest seems to be good. Get count, implement. No, that's something else. The only thing that will be important later is to refactor this to a stable memory, or else every time that you're making the upgrades, it's going to fail. Oops, it's not this one. I want a backend canister, and I want to interact with it. It was get user, and I want to say Tiago. It will return, it returns null. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't return the error, but I think on the tests he was also mentioning anything. Maybe on a prompt I can say that I want it to return an error or to return a string saying user not found. Yeah, in here should return empty option for a non-existent user. Yep, it's returning empty array. Okay, it's okay. From the code, it is returning empty instead of saying user not found with username. This would maybe be better. And for that, again, if we want, it's also not that difficult now because the heavy lifting was done by it. Maybe, and I'm already messing up. Maybe we can ask the prompt to do it. Yeah, I need to work more, but it's already pretty good. I think always working. The tests are working, so I'll consider this good to commit, right? Git status, git add, git commit, finished. Backend, and now on the front, it will be something I don't want to show you. It's already definitely 2 hours of session. I think it's already enough, but it will be just add front end feature, ensure that it implements what was worked on the backend on the user creation, that someone can easily on the form create the user, and that's just it. Don't need to read. Maybe also a leaderboard of a list of all the users that by username that were already created, and already on the front end you guys would have a good showcase for the advanced challenge. And I think that's it that I want to show. I hope it actually went very good. I like these risky sessions because they could go worse, could go bad, right? The other one. But I think it went good, this live vibe coding. Questions and answers. Sorry for taking you so long. Congratulations to those that have stayed until the end. Definitely, this wasn't easy. 2 hours of session, poor souls. But yeah, big congrats, and I hope that this is definitely useful for your works on the IC. Feel free to reuse them on your apps and works. Questions and answers. Feel free to also write it in the chat. I'll stop maybe the recording.